week 6 of The Artist Way. This week is recovering a sense of abundance, and a lot of this chapter is about healing your relationship with money. This also marks the halfway point of our 6-week journey, so let's get into it. Let's get ready to go on a date. I wish I took a picture of myself before I left because I'm so sweaty. The artist date was amazing. I cracked 2 geodes, and one of them was what she calls a double bubble, and it turned out that amethyst was in one half of the geode and citrine was in the other half, and it was so wonderful, so amazing. I can't believe it. It's funny because I also wanted to go thrifting, but the 2 thrift stores were not open because it's Memorial Day. So instead I went to the grocery store and got myself a sweet potato so I can make myself a sweet potato hash. We're gonna keep the date going. I look too good to not. But what a great artist date. I should do this more often. As always, ignore the disaster behind me, but here is a sweaty fit check. Tank top thrifted from Goodwill, I don't know the brand. Skirt Free People, got secondhand from a friend. Secret shorts are secondhand from Poshmark. Thrifted this jean jacket forever ago at the Salvo. All the customizations are done by me. Pins have been collected throughout the years. Shoes, I got at Goodwill forever ago also. Probably not forever ago, like last year. They have an embroidered floral thing on the side, which is so cute. Necklace I think my sister got for me. Very cute. Lets everybody know that I'm woo-woo from the jump. Earrings from, I think, a charity thrift shop called Echo that's local to me. Jacket did not stay on very long. Also, I had sunnies on. They're prescription sunnies from Zennies. But yeah, look at how cute I looked. But it's much warmer than I anticipated. So let's go continue the date. So this week, the tasks are a little bit more like go do and a little less like introspective, just journal about it. And listen, are all of them gonna work for me? No, I'm gonna change up some of them. Yes. So here we are, task 2 is to collect 5 leaves, flowers, what have you. And she suggests like pressing them, but I'm not going to do that. So instead, I'm going around, I'm taking pictures of 5 leaves, flowers, flora, and fauna. And I think I'm going to collage them. I'm going to print them out and collage them at home. So let's go take some pictures.
I will choose a rhythm you can dance to and write a song that only you can sing. Anything to make you happy. Silly sentences to hear you laughing.
Hopefully the creek isn't too loud, but it's have to mask my embarrassment. On the pond, I saw that there were some lily pads flowering, and I was like, oh my god, I should take some photos of that. And I was like, oh, but I'm gonna switch to my 85. I had my 50 on my camera. I'm gonna switch to my 85 so I can get a little bit closer. And I said to myself in my head, I said, do not switch your lens while you're so close to the pond. I take a couple steps back. I switch my lens, all goes well. I go to take off my lens cap rolls into the pond. Like, my lens cap on my 85 has never been stung, so I should have known better to stay back until I was totally in the clear. But now I have my lens cap in my pocket so I can go home and disinfect it before I put it on my camera, make sure it's dried out before I put it back on my camera. But I've looked at so many new flowers, and I'm over by the creek, which is running really well, and it has not been because we haven't had rain, but now we've had a bunch of rain, and it's so pretty. I love it. All right, I need to do more walking, like for the exercise purpose, and less running around for like my fun purposes. But it's hard because I have a camera in hand. 1, Andre, I hope you're watching. You asked me to vlog all the time, and now I'm doing it. 2, every so often, my best friend Chelsea and her husband Andre try to convince me and my husband Brad to move to Vegas. And I do gotta say, I said this in a previous week, right? Is that like I like to live where the ticks live. And I wish the ticks weren't there, but I do fear I'm a forest girl. Anyways, I'm gonna go take some pictures of ferns. Let's do it. It's funny because now that I've watched Sex and the City and I've kind of like talked to some people about it, it's interesting to hear people like, oh, who do you think you are? Like, which character do you identify with, right? Like, everybody has that. I didn't know I was supposed to be identifying with one of them and not all of them. But it's funny, people are like, oh, do you see yourself as a Charlotte? You're so a Charlotte. I'm like, I don't see myself as a Charlotte actually at all. But like, is Charlotte my rising sign? Because I do fear I may be a Miranda. Like, that is probably the character I most like. But I think, truthfully, you're supposed to be like all of them, right? And truthfully, I didn't identify with any one character. I identified that I wanted a group of girlfriends to get brunch with every week. So some of the things I highlighted this week. We have tried to be sensible. Creativity is not and never has been sensible. Remember, you are the cheapskate, not the universe. As you expect the universe to be more generous, the universe will be able to be more generous to you. Creative living requires the luxury of time. Creative living requires the luxury of space for ourselves. So those are some of the quotes that I kind of felt strongly enough to highlight as I was reading. But a lot of this chapter is talking about how while we're chasing money, we are maybe not focusing on doing things that bring us joy, or we are not allowing ourselves to live in this one precious life that we have. There's a passage that I think a lot of people resonate with in this one. There's a woman that talks about how she always looks at the berries at the store and she never buys them for herself because she feels as though they're too expensive. But that one carton of berries would bring her joy for a week for less than the cost of, a meal out. And why are we denying ourselves these simple pleasures when, spending, even if they're expensive berries, right? Spending a little bit of money on ourselves, right? You probably don't think twice about spending money on others. Maybe you do. But I do think I am much more restrictive with myself than I am for others. And this chapter talks a lot about how that limiting belief can really stunt us. I've talked about this in previous weeks, but Julia's writing is sometimes steeped in privilege. Julia used to teach this course to other well-to-do creatives who could pay a lot of money to take her in-person course, right? So we have to take all this with a grain of salt that when she was speaking, or the people she was surrounded with also had random horse money that they could just casually buy themselves a horse for the first time in forever. That's a hilarious sidebar in this chapter. I literally wrote down in my side notes, you can just buy yourself a horse casual. But that's besides the point. I think the thing for us regular folk who do not have horse money is for us to realize that there is an abundance out there, right? There's always going to be more money. There is always going to be more opportunities. Money will come back to us, right? We work hard for our money, so why not enjoy time now? I think this is a little bit of a double-edged sword because if you are someone who does not have an excess of wealth to casually buy a horse, you do want to plan for the future, right? You do want to save for the future. You do want to save for your large purchases or for your goals and make moves that are going to get you to your goals, right? But at the same time, right, how many times are we restricting ourselves when tomorrow is definitely not promised, right? Sometimes I think about, like, there's places that I've, like, wanted to go or things I wanted to do that no longer exist. But I was, like, waiting for the right time or waiting till I had extra money or whatever that looks like, right? Like, there's always an excuse. And I do think discipline is important, right? Like, not spending every cent that we earn is obviously very important for those of us who cannot casually spend money like Julia Cameron. But I think, you know, we can buy ourselves the berries every once in a while, or get ourselves a nice treat, or eat dessert twice in a row in a week, because we only have limited time. I saw somebody on the internet say this week, this is not a trial run, like, this is your life. So it's not like you get to, like, do this again, right? You don't get to restart, so you have to live in it now. So that is what I'm trying to do and reclaim the sense of abundance. So this week is all about abundance, and one of the things that you're supposed to do is track your spending. So let's do a little bit of what I spend as a week as a 30-something, work from home, self-employed, half work from home employee, whatever. It's Monday, it's Memorial Day. Today I spent $49 on toilet paper. I bulk buy it from Who Gives a Crap. I spent $81.80 on the geodes I cracked, which was a little bit of a splurge, but that's okay. And then I spent $19.75 at the grocery store for just a couple of household items, some food for us to make dinner this week. So truthfully, Monday was the only day I was good and actually did my money tracking real time on video, but I have been tracking it in my notes, so let's talk about it. So on Tuesday, I had to write a $1,500 check for my rent, so that was that. I had a doctor's appointment on Tuesday, and as a little treat to myself, me and Brad went and got some food afterwards, and that was $24.64 on a little treat after my doctor's appointment. And then we also went to the Goodwill and got a couple of CDs, and that was $12.55. I will also say on Tuesday, that was basically my spending for the day, but on Tuesday I also canceled a couple things that are subscriptions or whatever, like, are kind of unconscious spending, right? It's so interesting because in the time that Julia wrote this, really every dollar you spent was spent kind of knowingly, right? You were physically putting down your card, paying cash, writing a check. You were not simply just putting things on subscription and they auto build or whatever, right? So it's very interesting how culture has changed in that way. And, like, listen, much like this whole Julia privilege problem, whenever I see those commercials for Rocket Money and they're like, I didn't know that I was paying for DoorDash 6 times over, like, that could never happen to me, because it just, like, I'm not saying never, right? Never say never kind of vibe, but I do not live in that world of privilege where I could have multiple subscriptions running for the same thing, especially like a luxury subscription like a DoorDash pass or an Uber One pass or whatever, right? So that's so funny to me, but there are some things in my life that I do pay for subscriptions for that it's kind of like, do I really need this? So I did cancel some of them on Tuesday, one of which being a hotspot. My mom got me a hotspot, and listen, this hotspot has saved me in a pinch many, many times over, but the device itself is no longer 5G, like, LTE compatible. So I think I need to upgrade it. So I canceled that hotspot so I can do a little bit more research. Again, it was nothing crazy. Like, I think it was $10 a month to keep the SIM active and to get, like, data on that hotspot. But I want to do a little bit more research on other devices that might be better suited, because I tried to use it semi-recently and it just was not getting great service because everything switched over to 5G. I also canceled Thrive Market. So it's not that I did not like that service, but you pay a subscription for the year to do it, much like an Amazon membership. If I could be honest with you, I actually don't hate grocery shopping anymore. I grew up as somebody who really did not like shopping. Like, I did not find enjoyment in shopping like some other people do. But now that I work from home, going to the grocery store is sometimes one of the only times that I get to talk to other adult human beings in the flesh that is not just Brad. And it is kind of like fun to walk around and to get out of the apartment. So I did cancel my Thrive. We've used it, but like truthfully, I don't think it was saving us any money to use it, and I'd rather just go to the store and grab my own snacks. Not to say I wouldn't get it again. I just not in a season of my life where I'm gonna keep it. I also requested a refund on some app that I didn't even know I subscribed to when I signed up. I was like on Pinterest looking for something, and then I clicked something, and somehow I like got subscribed to an app, and I think it was like $50 for some reason. So I wrote them on Tuesday, and I got a refund for that. This is not spending, it's kind of the opposite of spending. But on Wednesday, we had to stop for gas at BJ's, and that was $25.76. We also got a couple of grocery items, like truthfully nothing that crazy, but just like a couple things that we needed for dinner at the grocery store, and that was $14.34. An unconscious purchase that we made on Wednesday also was our YMCA membership, which is $60 per month for me and Brad. And that just pulls out of my account, right? Like, I don't have to write a check for that. I'm not paying money for that. It just pulls out once a month. And that happened to be on Wednesday this month. Thursday, I actually don't have anything on my card that I spent. And that kind of makes sense. Like, I worked for most of the day, and then we went to a show in the evening, a free show in the evening. So we did not spend any money. So on Friday, me and some friends went to not one, but two crazy thrift consignment shows. They're not consignment or thrift stores. They're like one weekend only, come and shop. The first place we went was called Beauty on a Budget, and I spent $32 there on a very cute little dress and a couple other things. And then we went to a second event called Boutique for Hope, and that was great. Everything was 75% off, so I got a lot of good stuff there. And that at that thrift event, I spent $81. And then after our shopping extravaganza, we did stop at Shake Shack before heading home, and I spent $20.04 on a sandwich and some fries and a carbonated beverage. And it was a delight. We had some fun times talking about like how lucky we were to find such great things, and it was like $2 per article of clothing. So that was a lot of fun. And then on Saturday, we went to Long Island to see my cousin in a musical, and while we were there, we spent $11 on like a drink and some snacks at the concession. And I do gotta say that I did not really spend that much money this week, in my opinion. Maybe I'm wrong. But also, it was the end of the month. A lot of my utilities are in the first half of my month. So this was a good week to track. I don't feel guilty. I do feel as though I had a lot of like fun things going on. So I got to, spend some luxury money on myself. And it was not all going to bills or like things I had to do, because it like the end of the month does tend to be like a time where I don't have a lot of bills scheduled.